Colombia is a crossroads of all things in Latin America. It's the perfect place to set Encanto.
We wanted to find a place in the world where it would make sense to tell a story about family and tell a story about perspectives. And the more and more we looked and talked to our friends, Colombia kept on bubbling to the surface.
Initially, it wasn't specifically going to be a country, but we felt like, in a way, the more specific you get with it, the more believable it is.
We love that Colombia is diverse, not just in music and food and biodiversity, but families are diverse.
It feels like a melting pot. It's just such a unique place that has had a really complicated past, but has emerged from that complicated past in a really vibrant, beautiful way.
We were really in search of these special, magical places. We were in search of an Encanto.
Bringing Colombian culture into this movie has been an essential part of our writing process, our music, our casting, our design. It really has infused every piece of our thinking, and it's something that is a guiding principle to us, basically in every aspect of making this movie.
The directors and a team actually traveled to Colombia directly to get as much information as possible to bring into the film.
I think the trip to Colombia is something that we were looking forward to probably more than anything. We'd heard so much and we knew how vast the country was, but honestly, until we got there, we didn't realize just how much there was.
We're in a beautiful Casa Barachara where we're staying, a beautifully restored...
It is so admirable the way that they take the research trips to make these movies. It's just an amazing tool, and that's why the movies are so good and so real. We were trying to show them different things besides the museums and the typical places from the cities, but it was more like have different talks with people from like arts or music. We all had a very interesting meeting with Artesanías de Colombia, where we met anthropologists that were showing all kinds of the indigenous arts and crafts.
We were lucky enough on a research trip that Lynn could join us, which is super rare to have your songwriter with you. His dad was with us as well. I got a really good glimpse into their family life, which is amazing.
This movie is about family, so going there with my dad was really fun. You know, when we went to the quieter towns, I would talk to my dad about how he grew up in a quiet town in Puerto Rico. We ended up telling a lot of family stories.
When the directors came to Colombia, I was asked to be like their tour guide. My whole idea of the trip was for them to see how normal people live, like get the real experience. Just go to people's houses and have them show their craft. In Barichara, I was able to show them how people used to live even in the time that the movie is set, because those traditions haven't changed. The campesinos and the campesino culture, the people who live in the rural areas, is kind of like the backbone of the history of Colombia. To do a service to the movie and to Colombia and to Colombian identity was to get it right. Show what is the house life, what the people do in houses, like what the families do.
We had a really amazing time going to Salento in the Cocora Valley. Once we were walking through those amazing wax palms and seeing the clouds coming over the mountains, it was so picturesque and unusual and wonderful. We knew that that's where the movie should be set.
Behind us, these guys are apparently the tallest palm trees in the world. And I don't mean the species, I mean these actual palm trees. That's it. There they are.
And then a few months later, they called me back and they were like, hi, we would like you to work with us as a consultant. It was like, woo!
We want to represent Colombia, how Colombians feel Colombia is. And so to do that, we have assembled a great team of consultants.
I came to work in Black representation and to make young Black girls to feel themselves confident when they see a movie. Walt Disney has been very careful to create a perfect representation of Black people in the movie, and I'm very happy to be part of that.
In the family group, as we started to develop the story and learn more, as the consultants came on, you see so much pride and love and passion when they talk about Colombia, when they talk about home, how they grew up. And I think that part is just really exciting.
Every single detail has sort of run through this lens. The specific type of dances we're doing are for that music, for that region.
There are different dance styles that represent different regions of Colombia. I wanted to make sure that we nailed it. And so, I immediately picked up the phone and called Kyle.
I'm first generation American, but my family is all from Colombia. And I've gone there many times. I grew up dancing cumbia, salsa, vallenato.
You almost want to see a beat where you see the right? I know. Otherwise, you don't see that it's distinctly vallenato.
I mean, I can do it right now.
Yes, yeah, right.
As soon as Jamal gave me that call, I was like, I want to rep as much as I can, and I want to be fully knowledgeable. I'm grateful that we were able to put as much influences as we could in every aspect. The Colombian culture of dance and parties and just the warmth of the way the people even just physically move is heavily in this film.
A lot of work went into making sure that we were portraying everybody in an authentic way. There was groups of people who work at the studio who are Hispanic, shared their perspectives, talked about their family, what happens at home for them.
I see the corn kind of grill is operating itself. Something that is super common with those grills is the fanning. There's always somebody fanning the coals to make them hotter. And in that culture, there's always like that person tending it and putting the butter on it and everything. So I would maybe put somebody there.
I always really wanted to make sure that whatever was on screen, someone from Colombia or of Colombian descent could see that and say, that's exactly how we do it in the kitchen.
When we were meeting in a familia group, we happened to talk about arepas, which we all love. So I was actually asked to do a cooking class on arepas for the animation supervisors. They took my hand gestures in how you make an arepa and all that.
The dough's already ready to go, and then you start balling it up, and then you start flattening. I've got an arepa in 2 seconds.
It's a little tiny moment in the film, but it's so impactful to my family to know that, wow, she had a hand in that.
I was part of that class, and oh my goodness, I was my first week in animation department, and I was like, what are we doing? I hope every day is like this. I want to eat all Colombian food because, it was so good.
This film embodies the spirit of Colombia because all the ethnic groups and cultures we have here in this country are there together in this Encanto house.
Colombia is known as the gateway of South America because it literally bridges South America with Central and Northern American continents.
You can go, for example, to Pasto and to see people with that indigenous tradition, but you can also go to Cartagena and see all the Black culture. It's very diverse and that's magical.
When I had visited Cartagena, the thing that felt magical was just the life that was everywhere. The music, the food, the smells, it was all just such an amazing experience. The thing that makes Colombia, Colombia, though, is the people. You can just feel it when you're there.
We have these three combined heritage that are really present here in Colombia, which is like the Afro-Colombians, like the Black heritage. We have the indigenous heritage, which is the people who live here, like the original natives of this land. And we have the mestizo, like the Spanish kind of like root coming in.
People are proud of their regions, but they love being together and blending. And what a wonderful thing to talk about in a time that can be so divisive. How great to see families that really appreciate how different they all are.
People of Colombia were a huge inspiration to everybody in the studio.
The fact that this magical town is created by the miracle that happens when they lose the patriarch or the family was just a kind of beautiful metaphor of Colombian history.
In Latin American countries, we have this sense something good will come out of it if I have enough faith, enough passion to change this. It is a story about displacement at the beginning, about leaving something bad behind to build a better home. And that is something we kept hearing from Colombian people over and over again.